live streaming.
Let me see if it's live streaming. Alright, it's live streaming. Nice. So today we're going to be starting with CSS. Alright. So, okay. So what is CSS? CSS stands for, as you can see here, cascading style sheets, right? So it's just like you have HTML file. You know, when you want to open your HTML, you have a HTML file. You call it whatever file that you want to call it, right? Hold on, let me launch my VS Code just in case. Okay, so CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on the screen or on the screen, paper, or in other media. But for us here, it's going to be on the screen. CSS saves a lot of work. It can control the layout of multiple websites at once, and external style sheet are stored in CSS files. So there's something called inline CSS, external CSS, and internal CSS. Okay, and I'll explain each and every one to you. Okay, this has loaded. All right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to close this file. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So I'm going to close this folder. I'm going to open. Okay, let me save it. So I'm going to open another folder. Why are you taking long? Okay, let me look for another way to do it. Okay, here we'll show you one HTML page displayed with 4 different style sheets. So why they are talking about style sheets is that when it comes to, let me show you so that you will not be confused when you're hearing style sheet. So let me open a folder for you. I'll open the folder of that page I keep sharing to you. Although I can't remember where that one is. Do I remember where it is? I cannot remember. Hold on, I'm trying to find. I think it's in it's supposed to be in GitHub. Okay. Okay. So just like your oh, this is not it though. Is it? Oh, it's the one. I didn't know there was. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
I have to reduce this. I don't know why I'm zoomed in like this. And now I can't figure out how to zoom out. I don't know why I zoomed in like this, so I should be able to zoom out. Oh, where's the zoom out option? Okay, so you're just going to have to bear with me. Okay, so you see that this is an HTML page, right? Like when you want to open an HTML page, you do HTML.
Yes.
You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
So you see it's a HTML. Now for CSS, what you have is .css, right? So this is what they call a style sheet. Now this is the CSS for this page, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why it's like this. Oh, sorry. I think it's this one. Yeah. This is the CSS for this one. So this is why they call it a style sheet, because it's in his own folder, and this is what is called an external CSS. All right, this is an external CSS. So when you're hearing style sheet, it's because they opened a file for it. Add new file, and you call the file style.css. You can call it styles.css. You can call it style.css. You can call it whatever you want to. Just make sure that that .css is there. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So that the browser realizes that, okay, it is a CSS file. Now, this is one CSS, right? This is how it's appearing. Can I make this thing bigger? No, I cannot. Okay. Let's check another style sheet. You see, it looks different, right?
Yes.
That's what CSS will do for you. It's the same write-up. It's the same write-up. If you check here, same pages, different style sheets. This is a demonstration of how, if I check the number 2, this is a demonstration of how style sheet number 3. It's the same thing. Style sheet number 4. Style sheets. This one is no style sheet. So that's what CSS does for you. All right. It gives it different styling. I can't seem to go back to style 1. Okay, this is it. So it gives you, that's what CSS does for you. CSS solves a big problem. HTML was never intended to contain tags for formatting a web page. HTML was created to describe the content of a page, like this is a heading, this is a paragraph. We use tags like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we don't need to know this one. You can read up on it later if you want to. But basically, CSS just makes a page looks better. In the past, it was difficult to make pages look like this. If you check websites of olden days website there, it was just plain, just like CSS, just like what you have right now on your own HTML file. That's how plain it was. But thank God for CSS now, we can now do better. So like I said, there are 3 types of CSS. Let's start with the first one, which is inline CSS. So why it is called inline CSS is because, hold on, let me look for an example of an inline CSS here. Why it is called inline CSS is because it's on the same line as the HTML. I cannot see. Are you with me?
Yes. Try to write it.
Okay. So inline CSS is called that because it's on the same line as the HTML, and I'm going to show you an example now. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So you see this here. You see this thing here, right?
Yes.
This is an example of inline styling. You are changing the styling directly inside the HTML like this. Okay. If I say I want font size, that's the size of the write-up here, to be, let's say I want to increase it to 34px. We'll learn all this later. Why is it not writing? To 34px, right? Now look at 34px. If I run this, you see it is bigger. Let me make this 54. You see that the styling has removed. I don't know, is font size working? Yeah. Let me see 50. You see, it's definitely bigger. So if I say I want this to be, are you there? Hello? Hello? Is that from me? Hello? If you're talking, I can't hear you. And I can't go on until I'm sure you're hearing me. Hello. You are mute if you are talking. Oh. Please, if you can hear me, put in the chat section. Hello. Okay, so to wait for him.
Hello?
Okay. Like your network today.
I'm very sorry, man. I don't even understand the bit.
Okay.
Um, I have to use my
So
phone.
let me go back. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes, yes, yes,
Oh,
you are.
okay. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I was talking about inline CSS, and I said this is how it looks like. It is on the exact same line as the HTML. All right. So I was giving an example. So to do it, this is the syntax for it. You just after your tag, after your H1 tag, is always in the starting tag, is never in the ending tag. Okay, so you just put style. So here the browser knows that okay, this is the style it should follow for this particular H1. So it can be anything, it can be font size, it can be the color, it can be, you want to align the text at the center. If I say text align, sorry, text align, and I say center.
Ma,
Yeah.
first question. This thing as they're showing now, should you have the video of it?
Yes, the video will be on YouTube.
Please, what channel?
I will give it to you after the class. CodeZone. Just look for CodeZone. So if I run it like this, you see now it's in the middle because I aligned it to text center. So this is called inline element. It's called inline because it's on the same line as the HTML. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
Mm,
Okay. Now, for the internal CSS, this is what internal CSS looks like. Internal CSS, it means that you come here, still on your HTML page, and just before your, okay, this is inside this your head element. Of course, you know that this is the opening tag of your head, this is the closing tag of your head. So it is going to be inside here. So let me use an online browser to demonstrate it better for you.
okay,
Let
ma'am.
me use an online browser to demonstrate. I don't know what, which was why I said we need to use tables. We need to use CSS font length tables. Where is it? Okay. What we are going to be doing for the most part will be external CSS. We are not going to use inline or internal, but it makes a lot of sense that you should know what they are. So if you see it somewhere, you not be confused that they did not teach me this one. Say this, don't did not teach me this one. So yeah, I don't know why it's taking so much time to load. Oh, okay, it's me. So this is what an internal CSS looks. Hey God, what's wrong? This is what an internal CSS looks like. I'm sorry, this laptop keeps touching. Okay, it's still loading. The page is still loading.
This is touch.
So this is what internal CSS looks like. It is on the same page as the HTML. You see, it is inside the head element. This is the opening tag for the head, and this is the closing tag for the head. So what you do is that you open a style element. This is the opening for the style, and then you write all your CSS, and then you close it.
Okay,
Do you
ma'am.
get?
Yes,
Just
ma'am.
like any other element in HTML, but it will be on the same page as the CSS. Do you understand? Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
understand? That's
Yes, sir.
what an internal CSS is.
The same
Now,
page
an
of the HTML.
external C, huh?
No, I don't be touching. I feel like it's the same place with the HTML.
Okay. So an external CSS is the one where you have to open a different file, which is what we are going to be using. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Which we're, which is what we are going to be using. Oh my God. There was a mistake here. It should be style.css. Styles.css. This is it. So when you want to, let me close this. Let me delete this because this is not here. So when you want to open an external CSS file, it's just the same way you are opening a, what's it called, a HTML file. All right, you just need to come here, you say new file. Me, I like to use style.css or style.css, but I have styles here. Let me just use style.css. You can give it your name too, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is the extension at the back here, the .css. That's the most important thing. So when you open your CSS, this is called an external CSS. When you open your CSS, it's just going to be a blank page like this. And then you can, you know how it is when you're doing HTML, you have to press your exclamation mark, then enter to bring out all those things, right?
Yes,
Right?
ma'am. Yes,
In
ma'am.
CSS, you don't need that. Once you just open the file, you can just start coding. You can just start putting your CSS immediately. You don't need all those serene. Hmm?
Okay.
That's it. But the thing is that because it is in, you know, the inline and then the internal CSS, they are all on the same page as the HTML, so it is easier to find. But since this one is an external file, is a different file on its own, you have to link it to the HTML file, otherwise it will not reflect there. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's not connected to the HTML file in any way, so how would the browser recognize it? Do you get?
Yes.
So to link it, all you have to do is to come here, and this is the code for linking it. That's why you see it here. You just do link rel style sheets href style.css. So basically, you are referring to it that this is a style sheet, is a CSS file, and you are telling the browser, the browser that you want to link this style sheet, and this is where it is. It's just that it's just like you are linking to an image where you do the tohan.jpg or whatever form that your picture is, or maybe you are linking to a website. Basically, you're just going to put where the CSS is. So in my case now, this is styles.css, and that's what will be here. Do you understand?
Yes.
Any questions?
Mm.
I'm just going to put this piece of code in the chat there. You can copy it and put it in your VS Code. It's going to be, look at where it is. It's in the head element though. It is in the head element, inside your head element. That's where it's going to be. So I'm going to, so you can
So,
put
if
it
I,
in
so if
your,
I put it there, I can start using CSS with it.
yes, but you have to also open a CSS file, just like I did here.
Okay, okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. So let me first put it in the chat so that you have it, so that you will not forget. Yeah, in your head element. So those are the type of CSS. Now let's go to CSS in full and what is CSS. So the CSS syntax. So a CSS rule consists of a selector and a declaration block. All right. This is the selector. So the selector points to the HTML elements that you want to style. Okay, so for instance, now I want to style H1. If I want to style H1 and I want the color of H1 to be blue, very easy. I just come here and I say color blue. That's the declaration. So let me give you an example of what it will look like. Let me use this empty one. So I'll just come in, like I said, you don't need all those sereren that you use when you are doing HTML. So first of all, you select the element you want to sign. You want to design, right? You select it,
Yes.
and then after selecting it, you open this thing they call coily brackets. You can see it, right? Coily
Yes.
brackets. Okay. So me, I like to do my own like this. All I just did was just, let me do that again. And
Perfect.
this is just me. This is how I like to do it personally. When I'm in the middle of the coily bracket, I just press enter so that I'll have space here to type what I want to type. Okay. So now if I want the color of H1 to be blue, I just say blue. Now this is how you spell color in in
System.
CSS. Yeah, you don't put the U there. All right. So let's assume I want the color to be blue. This is how I write it. Let's assume I want the
That blue stuff came out by itself when you
yeah,
typed
to
it.
come out by itself. It will come out by itself. So let's assume I want it to be text align center. I want the text to be aligned in the center. All right. All this styling will reflect on H1. Now let me please try not to get confused, because in the online browser, so that you can be seeing it in real time, we'll be using internal CSS, but when you want to do it, make sure you use external CSS. Please try not to get confused. All right.
Okay. Okay.
So there is the selector, that which is the element you want to change. And then there is the declaration block, which is what the declaration block, you declare what you want. You declare that you want the color to be blue. You declare that you want the font size to be whatever, whatever, whatever. So we'll still talk about colors, we'll still talk about font size, we'll still talk about all those things. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's
You
this
here?
value?
You said
What's that value?
value is blue. That's what you want. You want the property, which is color, to have the
Okay, no.
value of blue.
The other one,
You want
12px.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
want
size.
the property of the font size. So things like color, font size, text align, they are called properties. And each property has whatever value you want to assign it to. So if you want a color of blue, blue will be the value of that property. If you want to change the font size is just basically how big do you want the font to be. Hmm?
Okay.
So if you want a font size of 35, that will be the value. All
Okay.
right. And you can see there is always, first of all, after the property, there's a colon, and after the value, there's a semicolon. You can see it here. After the property, there is a colon, then after the value, there's a semicolon. It's very important. It's like a rule. So multiple CSS declaration are separated with semicolons, and declaration blocks are surrounded by curly brackets like this. You must put them inside curly brackets like this. Do you
Yes.
understand? Yeah. So don't worry, you understand as we go. So let me give you an example here. Okay, I've used this example before. So let's assume, okay, let's assume this one was H1. Let's make it H1. All right. Here is H1, right? So now we want to style it now. We have already said we want the color of P to be red, and then you want the text to be aligned centered. So let's assume we want to do H1 now. So I'm going to select H1. This one is paragraph here. So that's why, I changed this one to paragraph, to H1, but it was paragraph before. So both of them were color red, and they were text aligned center. They were centered. So now I'm going to make H1, let me say text align left. Okay, so by default, everything is aligned to the left. By default, I'm sure you already realized that by now, that everything is aligned to the left. So let me say text aligned right. Okay, semicolon. Then I also want to do, sorry, then I also want, I want the color to be blue. All right. I also want the font size. Sorry. Oh, I did not put a semicolon there. So you see, font size. I want the font size to be 150 px. Okay. So in coding, we use px to determine size of something. Just like you have centimeters, meters. In coding, we use px to define the value. Do you understand? Hello? Hello? Is it me or is him? Hello? Hello? I can't hear you. Why am I not hearing you? I can't seem to hear you. Mm. No, I cannot hear you. It's not talking. And my speaker is on.
Hello, ma.
Okay, I can hear you now. So I was asking you if you understood what I did here. And I was asking you if you understand. Because I said we use PX instead of saying you want the font size to be 150 centimeter or whatever. What we use is PX. Do you understand?
Yes, ma.
Do you understand
So,
everything I did here?
yes, ma. So instead of all those closing brackets, this one you use apostrophe.
Yeah, you use coily brackets like this. And then after each property, you have a semicolon. No, this is a colon. And after the value, you have a semicolon. So if I run this code now, you will see how H1 will change. Okay, sorry. So if I run this code now, you see the 150px is so big. All right, so now you see it. The reason why it's not even in the middle, is on the left, is on the right rather. If it was in the middle, you won't have all this space here. There will be space between two of them. Do you see it now? Do you understand? Hello? 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 Are you there? Are you there?
Hello, ma. I said I see it.
Okay, because you were not talking. So quickly, we'll talk about font sizes. We'll talk about CSS fonts. We'll talk about CSS fonts. We'll talk about CSS text. And I think, what's the last one? Yeah, CSS fonts, CSS text, and CSS colors, yeah. So let's start with CSS text. Okay. Okay. So when it comes to text, there are different properties that we can give a text. Okay, you have seen the color already. You have seen text color already. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So know that there are different ways of writing colors. Okay, you can just write like the normal red color, or you can use hex value or RGB values. Now you see these two, they are a bit complex. So let's focus on what you know for now instead of going too complex, because I don't know how to explain it to you. Even me, if I want to, you have to know the particular hex value of the color that you are looking for. And there is a lot, you can't even cram everything. So basically, for me, most developers just use tools. Like for instance, if I want to use this color, I don't know I can't call this color red. I can't call it brown. Sorry, I can't call it blue. I can't call it purple. This particular color here, I don't know what to call it. So cases like this is where we use the hex value or the RGB value. But I don't still even know what the hex value or the RGB value is. So most times we have certain tools that we use to just select a color that we want to use. But you are just learning. So that is something that you can do in the future. For now, just stick to colors that you know. When you're not ready to become when you are ready to take it as a career path, you will learn about all those tools that you can use to check color. All right. Or you can go to this page. Let me see this page. Let me see. Or you can read up about it if you want to, but it's just very complex. And honestly, I would say you don't really need it right now, so that you will not overwhelm your brain. But you have already heard about, you've done colors already. Are you there? Are you? Hello? 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 Oh God, what's happening? You are mute if you are talking. I can't continue talking if I don't know that you are there. Because I will finish talking, you now tell me to come and do it again. So I have to be sure that you are following me. So please drop it in the chat if you are following me. Let me know. Because I can't hear you. I don't know why. Hello? 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 I can't, if you are mute, if you are trying to talk. Or maybe you should leave the class and come back again. I'll just wait. Okay, he has left.
Hello, ma.
Finally, you have come back.
I'm using my phone. I'm not coming back on the laptop. I'm trying to do it inside.
Okay, no problem. Let's just manage
Video.
your phone for now. Okay, so I was talking about colors, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I said we're going to learn about different types of text properties. Yeah. So I said you already know text colors and you should just stick to the normal way of writing colors. So let's do text background. Okay. So bear in mind that your text can have a different color of background if you want it to. Okay. For instance, now this is a H1. Hold on. Sorry. This is a H1 here. All right. This is a
Mm-hmm.
H1. Now they've given it a color of blue, but they also gave it a background color of light gray. That's why you're seeing this here. I can decide to make that background color. Let's make that background color just gray.
This is still inline CSS. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. This is light. Sorry. This is for the body. So, sorry. I made a mistake. So the thing is that you can also select the body of your code. So for us, I think what I did for us was that I kept the entire code in a container because sometimes it's easier to style that way. But you can also select the body of your code and say, okay, you want the entire code to have this color, the entire background to have this color. I can make the entire background here red. Let me say I make it background color red. All right, like this. I can make it yellow. I can make it light. I can make it blue. I can make it gray. Okay. So this is going to be your assignment to just know that. Oh my god.
Sorry.
All right. So let's leave it at light gray.
Mm.
Do you understand? So now, for your assignment, what you are going to do, you're going to make sure that everything in your body is text align centered. Text align. Text align center. So everything will move to the center in your page now. Text align center like this. So everything will move to the middle like this. Because you selected the body, the browser is going to the body is like the container for the entire code. You can also decide to put it in a div if you want to. Me, I just like putting it in a div. But you can use, so you can decide to, because I think in your own, okay, use body since we've not gotten to classes yet. Use body for your own. All right. So you can decide to style the body of it. You can also give it a background color. So write this down for your assignment. You are going to text align all the code to the center, and then you are going to give it a background color, whatever background
Is
color
there a
that you
new
want.
work, ma?
No, on that your same page. On that's your same page.
So what do I? So I should open the CSS page separately first.
Yes, you open a CSS file and then link
Then
it the way I showed you how to link it.
I should put it under the head, right?
Yes, inside the head, not under. It's going to be between, it's going to be at least, it should be on top of the closing tag for the head. That's where it should be.
On top.
Let me show you. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Are you seeing, this is the head element here. You can see the closing and the opening of the head. Look at where my CSS link is.
But mine does
Do
not
you
have all
see?
those meta. Okay, it has it.
And then don't worry about it. Has it, right?
It has it. It has it. It's good that you
Okay.
just scroll.
Okay. So
Okay, ma,
yeah,
I've seen it. Thank you.
yeah.
Then I
So
will
I
now run
want you
the code.
to,
Yeah.
what did you say?
I'll run the code on CSS. Like H1 will be this. It should.
Hmm.
Okay, ma. I've seen it. I've
So
seen
you
it.
can look at that page I gave you and try
Sorry, please
to,
go up.
what did you say?
Please go up. Let me screenshot. Okay.
What do you want to
Up,
screenshot?
up,
Where should I go to?
up. Go up. Sorry. Thank you. Okay.
You can't do this H3 because you don't understand it. So just focus on what you understand here. You can see the text align, you can see the
Mm,
font weight, and I will touch on all those ones. Focus on what I have taught you. Don't go faster than yourself. All right.
yes.
So I'm trying to see something. Oh, okay,
So
now I understand. All right, cool. All right. So yes, that's going to be your assignment. You give it a background color. So you
interesting.
see this,
Text
this
align.
color here that they said blue.
Uh,
So I think that means, let me see if I delete
I
that.
should,
What does
should
that
should I also
mean?
give it a color?
What?
Should I also give it a color?
Not really. Because you want the default color. I mean, the default color is already black. Except you want to change the entire color of your code to a different color. That's when you put a color here. Because if
Okay.
I put color here, blue, okay. If I put color here, blue, you will see that this one has changed to blue. The reason why
Mm,
the heading did not change is because they already gave the color here white. So let me tell you one thing about CSS. You see that inline CSS I taught you, right?
mm,
When I showed you that it's on the same line as the HTML. If, for instance, now, let's say for instance now, this is an internal CSS. If I come to my internal CSS and I give it a color of white, and then I go to that inline CSS and I give it a color of red, the browser will first favor the inline CSS. The browser will pick the one in the inline CSS. So there's a hierarchy. There is Oga. The Oga Kwata is the inline CSS. If there is inline CSS and maybe there is internal CSS like this and there is external CSS, the browser will first pick the inline CSS. If there is no inline CSS, but there is internal CSS and there is external CSS, this one now is internal CSS, the one where you have to open a file, external CSS. If you have those two, let's say in your external CSS, you give your H1 a color of red, and in your internal, you give it a color of white, the browser will pick the internal CSS. So it is inline CSS first, followed by internal CSS, followed by external CSS. Do you
this
understand?
one was doing this internal.
Yes, we have to use internal for the external browser. But if you are your VS Code, please use external CSS, the one where you open a file. Okay,
Okay.
so you don't need this color here because you want this color here just means that this is the color you want the entire code to take. So our own wants it to be black, so you don't need that one. All right.
All right.
So you can give your page a background color. You can give individual elements a background color, just like they did here. They gave this H1 a background color of black. They gave this div a background color of blue. Now, in your own case, because you have added classes to your div. If you hold on, let me show you why we give classes. In your own code now, you have more than one div, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have more than one div. You have like 3 divs there. If you style it like this, all the divs will take this styling. And maybe you don't want
Sorry.
all the, what do you say?
Sorry, continue.
Maybe you don't want all the divs to have this styling. Maybe you want the one in the first paragraph to have a different styling. So that's why we use classes. Do you understand? Instead of divs. So for you now, if you want to style a div, in short, you know what? Don't yet style your div yet, I beg. Don't yet style your div. Just focus on these ones I'm telling you. Give your body a background color and text align centered. I think that's all for now. Let's go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So that's all for there for the there is text align. I would have said. So I've already touched on text alignment. You should understand what it is now. All right. So the text align property is used to set the horizontal alignment of a text. It can be left by default. It is left. So it can be left or right aligned or centered or justified. Now look at what each of them mean. Each line is stretched so that every line has equal width and the left. Oh, okay. So when you okay, so now this H1, they move this H1 to the center. This one is text align center. This one is text align left, and this is text align right. I'm sure you already get the gist of text aligned, right?
Yes.
So when they say text align justify, it just means that each line is stretched so that every line has equal width. The left and the right margins are, you don't know what margins is. I'll explain what margin is. But have you seen a newspaper? Do you know how newspaper write? Like, okay, I think they gave us an example. Aha. So the text align justifying stretches the line so that it has equal width. So you can see all of them are on the same line here. This is what text align justify will do. So the chances of you using this are very slim.
My screen has stopped sharing.
You might not use it for a
Your
while.
screen has stopped sharing.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm going back now. So the chances of you using text align are very slim. So just focus on right, left, and center for now. All right. So that's
Okay.
that about text align last. So the text, there's also one called text align last property. Specify how to align the last line of a text. So let's see what that means here. Mm, okay, leave this one because the chances of you using this is kind of like a little advanced. So let's leave it. Sorry, I don't know what's happening. So just stick to left, right, and center for now. Okay. So even all these ones are still advanced. You can check it out during your own time if you want, but they are a little bit advanced. All right, so that you don't. It's better to start small, small. When you have understood this this simple concept, you can now move to a higher concept. If you try to understand a higher concept, it's just a lot of stress.
Okay, well.
Because even me, I really do not use all this. I really, even till now, how many times do I code and I use all these properties? All right. So text decoration. Okay, I can do text decoration. So text decoration, that's what you usually see in links, right? The links always have text decoration. So so the text decoration line property is used to add a decoration line to a text. So for links usually have an underline under it, right? So most times you can remove it, and I'll show you how. So this is basically the chances of you using this are even going to be low, like I said. So when you say text decoration of overline, this is what it is. It means that there's a line on top of it. That's what it means. When you say line through, it means you are like canceling it like this. When you say underline, which is what you see in most links, this is it. When you say overline, you are putting a line on top and under it. So that's basically what it is. All right, just so that you know. Mm. You can also specify a color for it, just like they did here, which is very simple. So after you have done, okay, oh, I want this to have a text decoration of overline. You now tell yourself that, okay, oh, I want the text decoration color to be red. It will turn to red. I want the text decoration color to be whatever color you want it to be. Do you understand? Hello? Hello? Oh my God.
Yes, I understand. Sorry.
Okay, all right,
Taking
very
time
good.
to.
All right, so that's all about the text properties. You can decide to check this out on your own, but I'm just giving you the basics that you will need, okay? So when it comes to
Okay.
CSS fonts, I know you've seen me do font size, but there's also something called font weight. All right. So we don't have time to do all this one. Let's do it tomorrow. Time has gone. But I've given you assignments. Give your body text align centered and then also give it a background color. While you are at it, read about margins and paddings. CSS margins and paddings. We'll discuss it tomorrow. I want you to read on it first. So do you have any questions?
Wait, you said text align margins.
No, I said read up on margins and paddings, something called margins and paddings. We'll talk about fonts tomorrow.
Okay.
Read up on margins and paddings. So I've given you 3 assignments now. Number 1, make sure that the body of your code is text align centered and also give it a background color. Number 2, read up on paddings and margins. That's all. So any questions so far?
No more.
Any questions so far?
No.
All right, then I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, let me give you where you can watch the video. Hold on, I'll put it in the chat so you know where to watch the video from. So you just basically, oh Jesus, I don't know why you're shaking now. You just need to go to YouTube and search for, oh God, I don't know why it's shaking. You just need to go to YouTube and search for CodeZone.
I decided to show me Arabic something.
No, it's not Arabic anything. Let me try and go to YouTube. What did you search for? You know what?
Code.
Let me stop sharing my screen. So you share your screen and go to YouTube. Let me show you where it is. Stop sharing. Let me stop the live stream too.